Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 51 of Wise Wednesdays with RK. The conversation today is unlike all those that we've had in the past. Today we are looking at handwriting analysis. My name is Ruqaya Khan. I have been hosting these sessions with experts, with thought leaders from my circle of genius since last year. We're almost close to completing a year now. In conversation today, I have Major Nithi CG and CJ, sorry, and she is a handwriting analyst. She is an investigation and intelligence. She is a coach. She is social media and enthusiast. She is a negotiation and career development coach, the podcast host of Majorly Talks, and an amazing person, because we have this hello uh, thing going between us, and from, as you can see from my smile, I am super excited to welcome her and you to this conversation. Hey Rehan, lovely that you're joining. Please write in comments saying who's joining from where so that we can acknowledge you, and I'm going to bring Niti on board right now. Hello.
Hello, hello. How are
How
you,
are you?
Rukia?
I am good. I am good. So lovely to have you on board. I mean, after the many days that we've been following each other and appreciating the work that we do, and I
Yeah.
am in fascination of what you do, because I am a writer. So I come from the world of words. And for me, when you keep sharing with me what you do, I was like truly fascinated. I was like, we have to have this conversation on this platform. Hi Vidya, hi
Uh-huh.
Kunin, hi Junit, hi Rehan. Thank you for joining us. And for the new members who have come on board, I will be sharing a tiny little video so that you know what Wise Wednesdays is all about. So, Niti, with your permission, can we just go ahead and play the
Oh,
little video, please?
sure,
Yes,
sure.
yes. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
I
Wise
love that.
Wednesdays started on April 1st with a humble episode on forgiveness. Between then and now, we've had heart led conversations on happiness, stress management, relationships, resilience, public speaking, respecting boundaries, self discovery, mindset, just being, listening, reclaiming your life, intuition, and even food. I would like to thank all my listeners and the guests who gave me their time and trust. It is because of you that we kept going. It is because of you that we kept growing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
So we are back. So that's what the little conversations and how they started in on April 1st last year. And soon it'll be a year since these conversations. And the number of topics we have covered is massive. But we never touched upon handwriting. We never touched upon what you're going to bring to us. So I'm not even surprised why we have so many people watching us today. So thank you everybody for giving us your time. And Nidhi, the most obvious question is, after 10 years of being in the army, how did you transition into coaching, and where did handwriting come from? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay. So in the Indian Army, we have something called as a short service commission, where you get the opportunity to serve for a period of 10 years, and thereafter you have the option of completing the service at 10 and pursuing something else you want to do in your life. So I've been like my families for generations, they have been in the army. So it's like, so I thought, okay, let me explore. Life is once, so why not give it a shot? Let me see what's there in store for me outside. And that's how I took this choice of completing my service at 10, and thereafter I took into handwriting analysis. So handwriting and writing per se has been very close to me, because as a school, in school you are told to participate in handwriting competitions, and also I was very good at it since my childhood. And poetry and anything to do with writing has been very close to me, including the writing instrument that is fountain pens, which you would have seen so much on my profile. So that's how this whole thing started. And last year, in fact, this very time, around 22nd of March, I had taken release, and I came back to my home, and the lockdown starts. And I'm like, okay, so now what to do? You have too much time to yourself. And the biggest challenge that lockdown brought was to engage people, and more so children, because there was nothing to keep them engaged. And the amount of stress of online classes and this and then, too much of digital exposure to children. And that's why I decided, okay, let me start some courses for children. Let me do a workshop. So one of my aunts, my mother's cousin, she said, why don't you're good at writing, why don't you do something on handwriting? I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. So I've been pursuing handwriting analysis and all these things as a hobby. And to a large extent, I was using it in my professional requirements also. So that had given me a little exposure to the whole thing. And when I created this workshop for children, what I got back from them in return, that was something like I could never imagine that, like people used to ask me that, okay, you're leaving, you're completing the service. Now, what do you think? You want to be a teacher? I'm like, that is the last thing I can do, being a teacher. And, see, I land up being coaching children actually. And that's when it struck me that, okay, let me go into proper certification, because a structured program is the right way to learn a thing. And that's how I did my course from the Institute of Graphological Research in Mumbai. It's run by one very, very humble gentleman, Mr. Anal Pandit. Now he's in his late 70s. It doesn't look like that, but he is in his 70s. Very energetic. So that's when I started, and I was like, okay. And as I met more people who came for analysis to me, I realized how much writing has got affected due to the entire digitization.
Yeah.
I was amazed to see that there were children who had never written till their age, like they are age 13 and they have not written for the last 13 years. And that was very shocking to me. And I was like, how do I bring to people that you can use your handwriting not only to self-assess yourself in the form of graphology, but also to use affirmations, to use writing practices to enhance yourself. And that's where the whole thing of repurposing your handwriting came into place. I mean, we talk of sustainability, but what about intellectual sustainability?
I like that. Yes. Wow.
What are we giving to the generations? We need to look into that. I think so.
True. That's so powerful. That is so powerful. And looks like we have lots of our friends watching in. We've got Sergi watching, Brigadier Sushil watching us, and we've got Lovely from the last session, my guest from the last session, which was also fabulous. We went on for an hour and 20 minutes last week. Let's see if we can top that today. So we've got, who else? We've got Krup. Okay, I'm just going to show you the comments. Krupati,
okay.
Jai Hind, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. We've got Sushil, sir. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. That's so sweet of him.
Yes, he is. He is a gem, truly a gem. And we've got Rohit, watching us. And there is somebody else, but I don't know. I can't see the name. He says, let's connect on LinkedIn. Sushil sir says, Nithi is so passionate about handwriting. She's gifted me my talent, handwriting. I have a good handwriting and I'm proud of it. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got more comments coming in. TR is Azim here. Okay, so TR is Azim, one of my friends and peers. Great going, ma'am. Mangesh watching. Kunain, I love that. I'm sure what you said about intellectual Sustainability is what probably struck a chord with him because he's also a coach. So brilliant, intellectual sustainability. So everyone's in awe already. So let's get the show rolling. Okay. Sir also says somewhere the keypad stole the show and made my handwriting take a back seat. And so now he's happy about getting back on track. And then we have Azim, who says, this subject is very critical. When I write, I could never ever understand my own handwriting. I am looking at a way to improve my handwriting. I love to write as I'm into writing essays and poetry. Isn't that fabulous? So
Awesome.
brilliant. Looks like we already have the right people on board. Thank you, everyone, for giving us your time. Do hit the subscribe button as you're watching from YouTube and continue to be part of the conversations on this channel. And Niti, when we talk of intellectual sustaining, and we're talking about children, you started out with children, right? So I remember when my kids were growing up, I would, I don't know, intuitively feel that the way a child writes is a reflection of the level of confidence they have. Because for myself also, some days when I'm taking down notes as a coach, when I'm taking down notes during a client session, some days it's the strokes are more powerful, more confident, and some days it's just a gibberish scribble. Yeah. So tell us a little about what's the connection, if any.
Absolutely. In fact, when we talk of handwriting, what is the process? Let's first understanding process.
Okay.
What goes into it? When we write, we are probably using our hands, our fingers, that's all, and you just put it. But there's a lot other things going beyond this limits. The brain. Our mind, and you are a coach, Rukia, you will understand this better. Our mind has got three parts, or rather the fourth, because the fourth is the true self, which is spoken by spiritual speakers. The first is definitely the conscious one. The second is the subconscious one, and the third is the unconscious one, and then is our true self. That is the stage. So what happens in writing is our our subconscious self has some random thing going there, meaningless. Many times you wake up from a dream and you're like, what did I watch? What is that going on? What nonsense? So many times we say that to ourselves. They're not nonsense. They're just random information lying there. And that random information, when it goes through the neural process to our motor activity, that is our movement of hands, it is a facilitator. It is actually a facilitator for bringing our thoughts from the subconscious mind into the form of our writing. And you'll be amazed how writing is formed. It is made up of certain shapes. And we just join those shapes. Our mind is so good at rote memory. The human mind is very good at rote memory. You tell them this is a circle, this is a triangle, this is a square, and keep repeating this for a period of time. And we remember those shapes as that. And then we come to the letters. You see A resembles the circle, So similarly, these letters, our rote memory puts it into more meaningful words. Okay, so now these string of words, our education, whatever knowledge we gain through our school, we put it into sentences. And then the emotional quotient of the expression part comes into play, where we give a meaning to our writing. Say an essay or a letter or, so on and so forth. And that's why your handwriting not just reflects your subconscious mind, but it also reflects on your intellect, your intelligence, your aptitude, your attitude, your emotional quotient, your mindset towards society, family, nation, opportunities in life, work experiences, relationships, money, everything. And you are a coach, you will understand that, when we divide the human self, like in the Indic culture, the yogic culture, when they divide, they say there are seven points in our body, and they define some part of our human self, the chakra system,
Yes.
what we call. And the same thing
Yes.
is explained by the Maslow's law of hierarchy also, that your
Correct.
self is defined in certain phases, in certain parts. And all that is what each letter signifies. You can divide each letter in that 7 ways and understand that why a particular individual created that letter in a certain manner. So
Wow.
it's like your ECG. Somebody is reading your ECG. So it's just that graph takes the form of letters and words, and that's why we call it we call it as handwriting analysis, which is actually a part of graphology. Graphos
Right.
meaning images. They are random images that we create. They are images,
Yeah.
and that's the genesis of our handwriting.
Correct. Okay, so that's from ECG. We have a very interesting question coming in from Lovely, and she says, "Why do intelligent doctors have terrible handwriting?" Thank you.
Because
Thank you for
their
that
brain
question. Yes.
because their brain processes faster. Their brain processes faster than their motor skills, and that's why you would see in many children also these days, because they are smart. The coming generations are already intelligent, so that's the reason you see that their handwriting is slower than how they think. The
Hey,
most amazing handwriting is of Einstein. You should see that. You
the
can
scribbled.
see. Yeah, it's scribbled, and you are like, as a graphologist, we see that impatience and that zeal to innovate and constant thought process. That's the reason, and it's only illegible. It is not a bad handwriting. I'll come to that. Why I say that.
Super. So Sergi says, and when I say Sergi, I'm definitely referring to Sushil sir. So
Yes.
so now I know why I'm so intelligent, is what he says. Thank you, sir. Okay, we have another good question. We have Kunen who says, "At what age hand-eye-mind coordination gets developed?" Great question.
Yes. It starts at three, three plus. The activities start for children to coordinate their hand and eye movement, and in fact, even in graphology, we say that we don't analyze actually. We don't analyze handwriting of children below the age of 13. See, 13, by 13, although we call it as teens, adolescents, and etc., but it is the time by when a human adult is actually developed to a great extent.
Correct.
And your handwriting is developed because you start having your own thought process. That's when you start applying your thought processes. And before that, the child is still developing. The motor skills are still developing. Every age has certain motor activities when I make them do in these workshops. So by 5, 6, they are decently developed, and by 10, yes, of course, they are properly developed.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to move away from one of the questions, because this is what's come to my mind is connected to what Kunen has asked. We as parents, we tend to give the children pencils to use from a very young age, and you insist that they hold on tight. So a lot of the kids I know end up having their right hands like this, where the fingers are holding on and tight, and so it impacts the way your fingers are, quite literally, if you look at the difference of your right and your left hand. So when is a good age to get kids to start holding a pencil? And is it a fact or a myth that you should start with painting so that the
Yes.
strokes they learn to hold. So tell us a little about that, and then we go to the next question.
Yes, yes, it's absolutely true. Painting is a very good, drawing is a very good way to build the motor skills. Till the age of from say 3 to 5, it is better to give them crayons, 3 to 4 at least, because fifth they start pencil in the primary schools. In India, at least they do. So 3 to 4 years, it's better to give them those soft crayons. You know, they are
Yeah.
those blob-shaped ones, so that the child naturally understands its grip. You're not enforcing it to hold something very pinpoint. You are teaching the child to first get a grasp. A grasp is important to be understood before the child forms a grip. And that's where we generally go wrong. We don't let the child feel, develop its feel, its grasp, and we get on to, the grip part of it. And when it comes to graphite pencils, it's better to start by fifth, and fifth to say 10 years, the child can take on to graphite pencils. In fact, um, it is also scientifically proven that a child can start with fountain pens even at the age of 4 if the process is gradual, if the parents take that much, pay that much attention how to develop that grip. So grips again differ from, like, it differs with the dexterity. The grip, for ideal grip, what we say is, if you can see, this is the pen. You have to use these 3 fingers and you hold it like that. And when you keep it, your elbow should be on the surface of your table, and your hand should move as if you are making strokes with a paintbrush. And that's where drawing is generally introduced before writing to children in the school, so that their grip is
Right.
softer.
Right. So, of course, I went to a different form of schooling, but my children were blessed to be at a different, way of schooling differently. So I remember when my son was started KG1, he wasn't given this normal pencil to use, the multi-sided one. He
Yeah.
was given the bigger three
Yes.
the three sides,
Three-sided.
the big
Yes.
ones, yeah, which I'd
Yes.
never seen before, and I was like very fascinated. And then I realized it just cuts down the surface area, and it also cuts down the amount of grip that a child needs to put. So I said, wow, what a bright idea. And then there's so much of coloring that they got to do
That's
as
called
kids.
the tripod grip. It's called a tripod grip, and this is called a dominant tripod because your palm is facing down, so you're kind of dominating the writing instrument. So it's a dominant tripod, and this is the perfect way to hold any writing instrument. And that's why those triangular pens or pens, with triangular grips or triangular pencils are more suitable for children to teach writing.
Brilliant. So I'm going to put my questions at ease because we've got amazing questions that have already started coming in. And
Okay.
so we will ask you this question from Rohit. He says, can handwriting brighten up your wealth prospects?
Yes. A
Ooh,
double, triple, infinite, yes, it
tell us
can.
more. Okay.
There are letters. There are letters. The way they are written, it matters. And if it is written in a certain manner, it will give you wealth prospects. That does
Okay.
happen because it changes. What happens actually is that the moment those letters are guided by a graphologist as to how they should be written, that inculcates confidence in you. The moment it inculcates confidence in you, your experiences increase. When your experiences increase, your belief system becomes better, your mindset changes, and you start attracting wealth to you. You get positive towards opportunities. And opportunities in turn are what? They are their wealth.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Rohit, for that question. Now I'm going to ask her more later on in private, or you guys can reach her out, and she does these amazing workshops. So please get in touch with her for that because she does amazing work. All right, we've got one more rock star question. Junit asks, so if the handwriting is bad, does that mean that the person thought process is not good, or it's because his mind works faster?
Okay. Okay, so let me put it this way. What if I say, when you say that your handwriting is bad, you are actually saying you're bad? Do we do that? Because it's our subconscious self. How can it be bad? And there are as many types of handwriting, as many types of people on this planet. So you can say, like today only I saw in one of the BBC Earth programs that it's already 7.7 billion. So there are 7.7 billion types of handwriting we are talking of. And irrespective you write or you don't write, you still have a handwriting. It's just that you need to be literate enough to write it in more recognizable forms. Even a scribble, like graphologists, they read even doodles. So there's nothing called a good or bad handwriting. And there is no good or bad thought process. It's all our perspectives. And there are parts of the handwriting which can be enhanced. Your intelligence is blessed. You can't do much about it. It actually defines your aptitude. So your capability of grasping on certain topics is naturally blessed to you. But you can change your mindset. You can work on your attitude towards life with experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yes, the mind works faster is one analysis. Like it's like 0.0000001% of that. It may not hold true to every person. Generally, what I mentioned was in case of doctors, because they are in a hurry, they are in a hustle to do things. And why not? Like you just mentioned that sometimes when you are scribbling, when you are, you have too many thoughts on your mind, what happens? You scribble.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean anybody is good or bad.
True. Also, sometimes what happens is when I'm taking down notes, I tend to cut short my words. As in, I eat up alphabets. Quite literally, I skip alphabets in a word because it's like I'm in a rush to write it down. And this often happens when I'm transcribing, when I'm taking an interview and I'm writing down. So I jump alphabets. You were saying something, yes.
Yeah. So does that happen that you just jump alphabets, or is it like you are making it more cryptic?
No, it's not intentional. It's just while I'm jumping alphabets. I'm jumping alphabets.
So,
yes.
but still you will be able to make out a meaning out of it, right?
Yeah. For me, yes, it makes sense because I know that's the word I wanted to.
So if I tell you, if you meet someone and he says that, I code and I can decode, what would you say? Isn't it brilliant?
Yeah.
They can code.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Did he just say that I'm brilliant?
Yes. People who use abbreviations, people who write cryptic to the point things are more professional and they are more brilliant because they want to quickly grasp on things and they can never forget those cryptic statements which they have written. Abbreviations, again, professional people, especially in the army, because you have to make the communication faster and clear to your own people. So that's where abbreviations play a role. People use acronyms. So people who write short are people who know exactly what they want to express in the least possible manner. So that's intelligence. You got a compliment.
Thank you. Guys, I wasn't digging for a compliment, but received one. So thank you very much. This is going to be so much fun. So Sergi says the speed of thought, I guess, impacts your handwriting. And we've got Harpreet, my school friend who's watching. She says, my handwriting got beautiful at this age only. And she's the daughter of my Hindi teacher, who has the most beautiful Hindi script that I had ever seen in my life on a blackboard. So ma'am would start writing and it would literally be like calligraphy on the board. So beautiful, Mrs. Kohli's handwriting. I can never forget. Do tell your mom. And if she's watching, Assalamualaikum. So we've got Rohit, who's got another question. He says, how can we identify through handwriting that the person or child is artistic or has creative talent? I think all of these questions are going to be so spectacular today.
I think
yes.
so. I think so. You just answered the question, Rukia. You
Did I?
mentioned about you mentioned about Harpreet's mother's Hindi teacher?
Mom.
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, her
mother,
mom.
who's a Hindi, who wrote like calligraphy, you know.
Yes.
So some people, if even Sarji, if you see Sir's handwriting, Sushil Sir's handwriting is remarkably beautiful. So these people are very creative, they are artistic, and they are very innovative people. So it shows creativity, you know, when naturally people can make those curves and those swirls and all those things, that they are creative people. They have that creativity still in them. I want to highlight here something more when it comes to creative forms of writing, that is calligraphy and penmanship or Spencerian, what they are called. They are artistic forms, and art should be dealt in the manner of art. Some people confuse it that, you know, if I learn calligraphy, my handwriting will improve. No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's something like saying that, you know, if I learn, if I learn painting or something, my, you know, like naturally your handwriting will have. Yes, it shows, your handwriting will show that difference of that creativity will be exhibited in your handwriting. But learning calligraphy will not help you address the issues which graphotherapy or handwriting enhancement will address. It is working on your issues, your mindsets, whereas that's only an art form.
And how do you discover this about children? So how do you discover if a child is artistic or has creative talent? How do you encourage that?
Yes. So children who are artistic, you'll see their handwriting development much faster if they are into that kind of handwriting, you know, the writing routines. You will see that. You'll see a lot of swirls and a lot of curves and cursive. Naturally, the child will be writing cursive. Cursives are the best indicators I have seen. You know, the moment the child start forming the C, those B's with those small tails coming out, understand your child is very creative and would love to invest time on that.
Super. All right. And we've got Harpreet, who's asking us about the concept behind using left hand or right hand. And I would like to add to that, maybe you could address it later on, is, you know, this insistence to write with the right hand. And so even if a child is a lefty, we kind of force them to be a right-hander. So a little on that maybe later, but first you can address her question.
The dexterity, you will, okay, I'll tell you some very interesting myth buster. I've done I've shared a video on what your handwriting cannot tell. And the reason was because I wanted to bring out certain aspects the handwriting cannot tell. And when the handwriting doesn't differentiate, so who are we? You know, so dexterity is one of them. Your handwriting cannot tell the dexterity. And that precisely shows that it doesn't matter which hand you use. In fact, if you try to write with your feet also, you might end up writing the same handwriting. Yes.
Okay,
What might be, there might be
Okay. A little hiccup, just wait. She'll be back. Amazing conversation, guys. Thank you for the questions. She should be right back. All right. Just a second, guys. Bear with us. Technical glitch. Okay. Awesome. Great questions. Just keep them rolling. We will be right back. She will be right back. And looks like we are going to take a little longer than an hour today, guessing from the number of questions that we have already. Looks like we are going to go overboard more than an hour. So sorry, we lost you there. Please, you can carry on your trail.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. There was
No, it's all right. It's all right. I kept them entertained. I hope. Yes. So you were okay. So for those who don't understand, I think what were you saying? Dexterity is which hand you're using. Yes.
Yes. It
Yeah.
means that which hand you use for writing.
Correct. Okay.
So it doesn't matter actually. It doesn't matter which hand you use for writing. It actually doesn't matter. And concept behind using left hand and right hand, they were more to do with the old cultural practices. But trust me, I am a lefty myself. I'm left-handed. I know the pains I had to go through for being a left-handed, where your teacher is forcing you to write with the right hand, and that's the biggest crime you can do to your child. You're altering the default setting of your child. I mean, if you are like looking at like there is this place in Nagpur where they teach children to use both the hands, but that's in a very proper manner, a very scientific manner to enrich their midbrain activity. Now, something like that is totally different. But forcing a child to change the dexterity is the biggest crime. You are altering the child's natural thinking process.
And so I think that question resonated powerfully with everybody. We've got Azim who says writing and left and right hands. My younger brother was lefty when he was little, but his first tutor was a lady who used to hold his left hand and force him to write from the left. How much does this affect general development, and does it affect understanding? Thank you.
Yes, it slows down the understanding of the child because you have disoriented its thought process. Now you are telling your child to use a right hand to think and use more of its left brain, which is not the case. So you are affecting it to the subconscious level. The child's naturally the right part of the body is not aligned enough to take on to those activities. So one needs to be kind to children, and I really don't know why, because even being a lefty, I think so I can teach right-handed children how to write, because the letters are made in such a manner that whether a lefty or a right-handed person, both can write the letters. And the letter formations are the same way. It doesn't change. It doesn't change with your dexterity. So there's no question why teachers become so phobic of teaching a left-hander to write using their right hand. I don't know. So I think so. This is what I want to bust. These myths, they need to be busted, because this is causing a lot of harm. This even inhibits the child to write. My mother says that when I was young, I didn't want to go to school. I didn't go to school for 3 days.
because of that fear of being scolded by the teacher. It is psychologically putting the child at a lesser confidence level.
Definitely. So, which is why when that question popped up, I couldn't resist, though the question was also there from the listeners. Thank you for addressing that so powerfully. I'm sure it's going to help lots of parents who tune in and listen when they do. So, thank you. We've got Kunen who says that's right. Proprioception helps in developing the grips. Kunen loved your answer about wealth. And we have a question of, sorry, not Kunen, Rohit loved your question about the wealth. And we have George who's listening. He says, why are we not using hieroglyphics today?
Because it's we have come to a stage where we have simplified it with lots of scripts. Scripts are scriptures, and like scripts help people connect with languages better. So that's why the evolution of scripts came. And if you look, for that matter, interestingly, if you look at any script for that matter, if you take the Arabic script, or you take the the Devanagari script, or you take the Latin, the English script. If you take any of these scripts, they're all scientifically designed. There's a thought process between why a word why there are lines. Ultimately, they are all strokes. If you see, there are strokes, there are circles, there are dots. And these three things, and strokes, that is lines, circle, and dot, they form so many things in the universe. If you look at,
True.
Where does the human mind take it from? It takes from from the nature, from the universe. And so yes, that's why we moved from pictographic forms to hieroglyphics. The Chinese still use pictography. Their script is pictographical. So I think so. They are the only language which are who's still using that, and of course the Japanese.
The Japanese as well. I was just about to say that. All right. So interesting. Okay, moving to the next one. You demonstrated about writing. So we have Karupati who says, ma'am, should we move our wrist or the elbow in the ideal writing position as you demonstrated?
Yes. So the elbow acts like a fulcrum, So a pivot, rather, pivot is the right word. You pivot on your elbow and you move your hand like this. You should not shake the wrists too much. If you are doing that, that means your writing position is not proper.
What I'm going to do is I will go off so that you can demonstrate it more clearly without, you can have the entire screen. I'll be off until you speak. Just give me a moment.
Yeah. So if you have to use the correct writing procedure, I'll just show you and just show it on a paper. And yeah. So if you are placing it, your elbow should rest on the table, and your hand, again, your wrist portion should be resting on table, and it's only your fingers which should be gliding on the paper. And there are two strokes. This is called the flexor, because you are flexing your muscles, and this is called the extensor. This is all the movement which should be there. A little bit, yes, little bit, there will be a natural movement to your wrist, and that's all you should be doing. The entire process should be really, really relaxing and not stressing anywhere, neither on the wrist or the elbow. If your elbow is hanging down, you will fold the wrist, and this is going to hurt you during the writing process. Yes, Rukia.
Yes, I am back. All right. So thank you for that. That was definitely helpful, and you definitely needed the full screen for that. Okay, Kunen is very happy that he has learned a secret of getting wealthy. Lovely, Lovely says, also same persons can have different handwriting at different times, as I've seen this happening to me. Yes, it does. We've got Junit,
Okay,
my,
let me
yes.
answer that
Okay,
statement.
yeah, please, yes.
Yeah. So why does that happen? Many of my clients also, they say, Nidhi, you cannot analyze my handwriting. It keeps changing. And I say, okay, when you get up in the morning, suppose you slept late and you didn't get the proper sleep, and you get up in the morning. What do you see in your face when you see in the mirror? You see stress? You don't see.
Puffiness, yeah.
There's puffiness, there is some, you might see some fine lines on your forehead, and you will be all grumpy and going around like that in the house. And then there are times when you wake up all chirpy, and that brightness, that sheen is there in your eyes. But does that mean that that grumpy person and the chirpy person are two different people? No.
No.
So, same goes with the handwriting. Your handwriting will be grumpy, your handwriting will be in a hurry at times, your handwriting will be chirpy, your handwriting will be creative at times, but that doesn't mean that your handwriting is changing.
That makes, I love that. So powerful. So yes, same person can have different handwriting at different times. Yes. Awesome. Okay, there is Junit who's congratulating me for being intelligent. he's my
That,
he's he's my buddy coach.
uh-huh.
And we've got Kunen. He's got a question. He says, "Can you suggest some specific games or activities for children to develop hand-eye coordination or motor skills?" And
Absolutely.
Niti, again, if you need the full screen, I shall play the disappearing act again.
Oh, no, that's very easy. This one is very easy to comprehend.
Okay,
You
brilliant.
just You just have to give your child a bowl of lentils. Say you can put some rajma, some chana. Depend if they are less than 5 years or 7 years, I'll suggest put the bigger lentils like rajma, chana, and all those, or some nuts. You can use badam, you can use cashews, almonds, and some akhroat and walnuts, and you can just put them in a bowl and tell them to pick and put it in another bowl. Make them do this. So what are you doing? You are trying to coordinate your hand and taking it to the next bowl. This is one. In case your child is elder than 7 years, I suggest give them the smaller size lentils, like the dals, the pulses which we eat. Put them in together, mix them, and give them a bowl, and let them try to pick it up. Okay, so that's another way. Kneading activity. Give them Play-Doh. Tell them to knead. And more than Play-Doh, the best thing lies in our home. We all have got fine flour. We have flour at home.
Yeah.
Teach them to slowly, mix them. Teach them to slowly mix water in it and turn it into a dough. Kneading the dough is another activity which will strengthen their muscles, and that again teaches them how to form a grip. So these few exercises, and so easy to do at home. Mothers can just say, tell the child, come help me in the kitchen, do this for me, so the child will do. So that's it. It's easy.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. All right, we have one more question. We've got Vidya who asks, what does it mean when someone has a beautiful running hand but gradually changes to split hand when they get to their teens? Okay, so,
Interesting. So a child who, what I understand from Vidya is that somebody was writing cursive, but suddenly started writing in the print script, what we call.
yes,
No?
yes. And she's got one more question. Maybe that would help you further understand it. She says, also, I would like to know the major difference between running or cursive handwriting and script or split handwriting.
Yeah. So the disconnect shows many things. Maybe the person is now wanting to have his or her own space. That is one interpretation. The other is the person is more of a nocturnal rather than, somebody who sleeps in time. The third thing could be that the person is more, there are creative sparks to a very different level, like we call them people who uh, write disconnected. That is the script, the print script. They can't they, be understood by people like us. They are meant to be understood by the cosmos. That's the kind of, the joke, the normal jargon that goes on. They connect directly to the cosmos, and they are that kind of, they have the ability to have that kind of connection. They love nature, they are more close to nature. You might see elements of introversion in them, and introversion is not a bad thing. Rokia, you are a
Yeah.
coach and you understand that.
Yes.
They
Yes.
who draw in energy from others by just being present with them, or they are not people who will try to draw energy by communicating with them. They draw energy by not communicating, and just like the method is different. That's what. So that is what is the difference. Cursive writers are people who connect. They connect a lot with people. They love communication. They are very good at linking and pattern analysis and such things, such stuff. They are very good at all. And yes, and they are very good at their memory. And especially when, if you are saying that at a certain age the child has been writing in running script and gradually turns into a print script, there is a possibility that the child's attitude towards things in life is slowly evolving in a very different manner. So it could be because of the change of study environment, or it could also be that the child has now realized what actually that form of education means to it, or that environment means to it. So there are multiple reasons, and also depends as to how, when we individually see that letter, even in the print script, that will further enhance and bring out the qualities which I'm talking about.
True.
It will validate further. Yeah.
Okay, so her other question was this. If you'd like to further address it, I would like to know the major difference between running a cursive hand and script or split handwriting.
Yeah, so there are personality differences, and writing connected is a good thing, because it's generally taught in our schools, because that makes work easier. When you write connected, you can write faster. That's the reason that cursive is taught, and it looks more legible. So but a child who has been writing cursive, or naturally writes cursive, you can teach that child cursive. And as a graphologist, I don't encourage, if somebody is a print writer and you suddenly change that person into cursive, it won't be taken in that manner by that person at a subconscious level. So never enforce any of. If somebody is naturally a cursive writer, and if he or she turns into a print writer, absolutely, that is hardly going to make much difference. The difference is bearable, like the person it's nothing gross.
Right. And I think as a parent, I guess, because we see the child writing beautifully cursive and then shifting to script, you just wonder, what has gone wrong over there. But I love what you said about how the child is probably evolving and is having a different understanding for the way they want to look at life, or maybe even, as you said, having a little distance, or maybe just having a different way of being altogether. So that's an interesting observation to have.
Another thing could be the technology. Digitization and too much involvement in gadgets again puts a sense of isolation also.
Yeah.
So if somebody is really worried, they can just give this a thought that why this happened so suddenly, and if it's not gradual, but if it's sudden, then they might check this angle.
Hmm.
Is the child feeling isolated?
Okay.
Is there aloneness? Because mobiles have inculcated that habit in us to be alone. We are happy. Don't trouble me. Leave me with my phone.
Hmm.
That's the kind of attitude that develops. And attitude can change in life.
True. True. So thank you, Vidya, for that question. I'm sure it's been very helpful to a lot of parents out there, and again, even individuals, not just parents, but people who might have experienced the shift in their preference of writing styles. So great, thank you. And we've got Aditya, who is asking about ambidextrous people. So, okay, before I take up that question, we are over the hour and we still have some questions. I know it's late for you, Niti, so would it be
Oh,
okay if we just, yeah?
okay, fine.
Thank
I'll
you.
take a nap more tomorrow. That's
Thank you. So, somebody lovely asked, where is she based? She's based in India, and she is staying up late for us. And thank you so much. So, I think this question about ambidextrous people came in when we were talking about the left to right and right to left
yeah.
shifting. So, please.
Ambidextrous are superly brilliant people. They have their midbrain activated. These people can write with both hands. That means that they can think as a logical person also. They are very good at as a creative person also. So they're very brilliant people. And brilliance doesn't mean getting very good scores. That's the most lame way we can describe an intelligent person. But ambidextrous people are super brilliant, and they will have intellectual goals in their life. Their goals are very intellectual, and they're intellectually ambitious. I can vouch on that because I know a couple of ambidextrous people, and then they are a different species. I think so. The way they think about things, and they're quick at grasping things. They reason out everything. So and they're very very fast at managing things because they can write with both hands, so they can do multitasking, and they're brilliant. I
Thank
wish I
you.
was.
Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to, before I go to the next question, I'm just going to acknowledge what Vidya has to say. She says, thanks, Nidhi. Your explanation brought the respective person's face right in front of me. Amazing that you are.
Thank you
Too
so
many,
much.
too many questions now flooding my mind. Guys, I'm just going to also share how you can get in touch with her. As I said, she does these amazing workshops. So I'm going to write in how you can get in touch with her. Her website is mind blowing. The content she shares is brilliant. So just if you can connect, if you have any questions, want to connect with her further on more details, then please do. And going back to the questions, because as I said, they've just been coming in lovely.
I'm loving it.
And I'm loving it too. Thank you, everyone. So Lovely had asked, where are you based? And I said, you're based in India. You're in Delhi, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Oops,
I'm not in
Bangalore.
Delhi. I'm
Where are you?
presently in a beautiful place called Siliguri, which is in West Bengal. So I'm here.
Lovely. And we've got Kaleem watching all the way from UK.
Thank you so
And yes, And Harpreet says, beautifully explained, because we were explaining about the left and right.
Yeah.
And okay, we've got one more question before I miss that. Rohit asks, kindly share the myths attached to handwriting.
Okay. So there are many. Let me bring out the ones that what your handwriting cannot tell. I love doing that as myths. So the first one is dexterity. It cannot tell your dexterity. It cannot tell your age. It cannot tell you. Yet certain things are visible from the way the handwriting is developed. So you can vaguely make out over a period of time that it is a child's handwriting or an elder's handwriting. Third thing is the marital status. You cannot make out of the handwriting. You cannot make out gender from handwriting. Yeah, so these are few things you cannot make out of handwriting. People have this myth that they can change their handwriting drastically and just, do, a facade of an identity. Sorry, it's not possible. Your faking it out will also be caught in handwriting analysis. And more about handwriting analysis, yes, it is not a predictive analysis like astrology. It doesn't predict futures. It's a science, so it talks about how you are at present and how being what you are at present can implicate your future, and how your past has assisted you in becoming what you are. So it's all related to your present. With the what you are in present, we try to analyze how your past would have been, that you have evolved into like this, and what you have evolved into, how being this will affect your future. That's all we can do. But it is a great self-assessment tool. It's a great self-enhancement tool. It's a great self-introspection tool. Somebody who has to fight anxiety, somebody who has to fight fear, somebody who's not knowing, is like clueless about life. No better way to than knowing through this. So these are few things.
Awesome. So I'm just, for the purpose of time, I'm just going to start sharing the comments of the people who are asking
Yes.
as they come, so that we can move forward
Sure.
to the next question.
Sure.
All right, then. We've got a question. Okay, we've got parents sharing. Junit says, I've noticed that my child draws from a younger age and she is creative. So yes, and yes, she does this amazing pictures on the whiteboard, which I've seen. And now her handwriting is artistic and beautiful. Kausaji is watching. She also used to be a lefty, and I think she still is. But there was a push to shift to be a righty. So yes, no, she still writes with her left hand, I remember. So Vidya says, I too was born a lefty, but was forced to change. Now I'm more of a right or left dominance person because I could not change some things to the right. Okay. Question from Kunan. He says, is there any institute providing graphology training? What do you suggest to take up as a career for students after 12th standard?
Okay, so yes, there are many institutes which provide graphology as a training. There are institutes, there are American societies, there is a British society for that. In India also we have many institutes for graphology training. To pursue as a mainstream career, I would not recommend that only learning graphology will be helpful to pursue as a career. So graphology is one of the tools to get into life coaching or counseling, career counseling or something on those lines. So it can be one of the tools. So suppose a child wants to get into psychology, so it can be a added tool for the child. Suppose the child wants to get into fraud investigations, and so on, and so on, or forensics for that matter. So graphology is a tool. It's an additional tool. It's a skill. It's a skill set. It's not a mainstream profession. Like you can't be just a graphologist. You have to use the skill in some manner to deliver something to the society. Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, jumping into the next one from Vidya. She says, is the study of handwriting analysis universal to any kind of language script?
There has been a lot of research going on this subject. It's not universal. Things change things change depending on the way the scripts are written. It's more to do as to how the graph is formed, the graph of the letter. So there's a lot of research that has gone into, and they're still going on. English is the most widely researched in this aspect. So yes, so it's more or less same. The rudimentary, the basics are more or less same, but yes, it does have different connotation with different scripts in the way they are written.
Okay. All right, we have another question from Azim, and he asks, writing another question. My children are very interested in writing, maybe my gene, lol. They try to scribble on any books or anything, okay? And he says, should we stop children from writing on things, walls also? Does writing on big charts or boards bring disorient the writing from small book lines, etc.?
No, it doesn't affect. Rather, you should encourage your child. Yes, maybe not on the wall, so you might create a blackboard for your child. Writing with chalk is another good exercise for children to pick up writing. And let them scribble, let them encourage them to scribble. Doodling, it's basically doodling. So doodling is another way we use, like I love using few doodles as a relaxation practice for people in my course. So yes, allow them to do whatever they want. Don't restrict them, because as it is, there are so many people who are discouraged to write. Why stop them?
True. So he says, just a movie, Catch Me If You Can, true story about Frank Abagnale Jr. Your thoughts? Have you seen the movie?
I don't. I think so. I've seen, but I don't recall the story as of now. I'm bad at movies.
Okay, but yes, thank you. So we'll definitely look up the movie, and yes, maybe it could be a conversation for another time. Nithi's email address, I will definitely be posting it. I will also be posting her website, because I can see that we're all enjoying the conversation. Kunen, who had asked the question about graphology, says, thank you, RK, for great session. Salute to Major Nithi.
Thank you.
And Lovely also adds saying, amazing conversation. Love this, Rukaya, and thank you, Nithi, for sharing your knowledge. Lovely added, say, about forensics, because when you spoke about using graphology, forensics could be one of the streams where graphology could be used, as you mentioned.
Yes.
So
Yes.
brilliant. I am going to thank you for the session. I really enjoyed the session, Rohit. There are more questions up above. So I think they've got their questions answered. They're leaving. So who else do we have here? Yes, Kurupati has finally understood why she's got shoulder pain. Is it a she or a he?
Kurupati, Surya Prakash, could be
he.
I'm not very
Yes.
sure.
So you finally know why you have your shoulder pain, because of the writing. Interesting. Also, I've noticed my parents write the same letters in a very different manner as compared to mine, which completely changes the appearance of the word. Is graphology helpful in understanding?
Okay.
And all languages and letters which have their shape changed due to evolution, ma'am. So I think that the more it's
okay.
yes.
So maybe what I can gather from the question is, does graphology help us understand this evolution, why it happens, why it takes place? Um, yes, to a certain extent, because with the evolution of the mankind, definitely our needs, our outlooks toward things, and the basic human intelligence is changing, and that forms the part of our aptitudes. So these days, the generations are more techno savvy. Their technical knowledge is much better than what was ours at their age. So that difference will definitely come into notice in the handwriting. That will definitely have happen. Also, what influences our handwriting is the teachers, the people whom we get inspired from. From whose handwriting we get inspired. That also affects your handwriting.
True, I do agree. If I were to look back at the teachers who've influenced my handwriting, as I said, if I look at the Hindi scripture, Mrs. Kohli. If I look at English language, Mrs. Jerome. I remember the names, because it's so beautiful to watch the hand flow. It was literally so. As you were doing the demo, I could just connect the elbow never moved. It was just the wrist that would just flow literally with the chalk on the on
Yes.
the on the blackboard.
Yeah.
So beautiful. All right, we've got Sergi Sushil sir, who says, I also been using cursor handwriting, and for some explicit purposes use print print tube
Print
split
type of
yeah,
handwriting.
print type split handwriting. What does that depict?
That depicts that the type of the situation, the moment in which would be using that handwriting is more professional, and just to make things more clearer and evident for people to understand. That is all. It is a very temporary thing that sometimes he would be using print script. So sometimes even our slants change. So it all depends on what mood we are in, and what is the purpose of our writing. So to a friend, if you write a letter, you would try to use all colors and everything, but you won't do the same thing when writing a professional letter. So it is more to do with the thing that subconsciously it is work, and it's for a or for an official purpose. So that's the only reason.
Okay, and that beautifully takes us to this question, which is, how powerful is this tool to understand someone's emotions?
Very powerful, very powerful, to the extent we can even tell. I have such clients whom I've told that you are a very romantic person, so you should see to it that uh, you what you look for as a partner. So emotional beings, people who are more emotional, people who are practical, yes, all these things can be easily detected in the handwriting. And even people who are having issues, emotional issues, that gets very evidently highlighted in the handwriting. It comes out very, very, very evidently.
Okay, can you share a little bit on that, please?
Okay, so if for matter, like how we make K. So if you see how the letter K shows about uh, how we deal relationships, how do we deal love, for that matter, what is our understanding of love and romance. So people who are a more romantic nature, if they end up being with a person who's not to that extent, they ultimately will have some kind of frustration, and certain disappointment, resentment in life. And for some humor matters in romance. For some, it's a very practical thing, like arranged marriage. So it's like, these are all requirements of life, that you should have a life partner, then have a family, and tak tak tak. So people are like that. So yes, emotions come out very, very clearly in handwriting, and emotions can be addressed also through handwriting. So somebody who's having stress, who's stressed about something, maybe at a family friend, you know, or somebody, especially people who are not openly, who don't openly express. For them, for understanding such clients, I think so handwriting plays a vital role in that. Especially people who find it very difficult to express them to others. Um, even sometimes to themselves, you know. So to deal such people and help such people deal things in life, handwriting is definitely a powerful tool. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you. And that was definitely a powerful question. Thank you for asking, Janit.
Yes.
And actually, all the questions have been so,
And in fact, you
so
know, when I
insightful.
saw that questions, I could see, I saw the flash of few handwriting samples of my clients in front of me. And then, in one of my interactions, I said this: whenever I see a handwriting, I feel as if I'm meeting that person.
Hmm.
So it's like that. So it's full of emotion. Our handwriting can never be emotionless. It's
True.
there in some or the other form.
True. And as you were explaining, or for the other question also, Vidya said, the person's face was coming to their eyes. I mean, as you were explaining, she was able to connect the dots.
Yes.
So powerful. And speaking of Vidya, we have one more question from her. She says, in the convent school that I was insisted on cursive writing. Alternatively, my niece's kids, 7 and 4, who are in Australia, learned print writing as there is no cursive writing concept there. Your comments on this insistence, please.
As a graphologist, I really don't subscribe to this. I really don't subscribe to this. This is the worst thing you can do, that you try to enforce a type of handwriting connection on a child. You are actually trying to alter the child's own default belief systems on things, and it does affect the overall communication skills of the child, and it also affects the social adaptabilities of the child. So, keeping all these things in mind, although schools would insist, I would suggest that if a child naturally writes cursive, they can practice that at home. They can actually do that at home and just keep that print thing for their exam purpose. I know I'm going little devilish here, but then I have no choice but to do that. And same goes for cursive. If somebody doesn't want to write cursive, anything for that matter, you cannot enforce somebody to, without any will do that. So anything to do like that is criminal, especially on a child.
I do agree. Okay, we've got Azim who has another question. He says it's the last question. Does the effect of our handwriting, as my Arabic is more beautiful than English, in Arabic I can do calligraphy, while in English it will take a lot of time. In my writing Arabic, then Hindi, then English. Hindi is also more beautiful than English. How language affects writing. So it's just about different languages and how it affects. Yes.
So that's possibly because subconsciously his self has taken that Arabic is a more natural language for him to express. He feels more connected to express in Arabic and Hindi, and then English. So again, beauty. So it is something like, you are good at art of a particular genre. Maybe you are good at watercolors, but you are not good at oil pastels, and this is perfectly fine. And Arabic script is just written in a very different manner. It is only strokes. There are a lot of strokes in Arabic. You take any letter for that matter, Hindi, Hindi also has focus on, rather all have strokes, but the way it is done, how you as a person align to a particular writing. You are a creative person, Azim. I think so. That's the
Yes.
best thing. So than English, probably you haven't focused on beautifying the English. English calligraphy is the most difficult, if you ask me. If you ask me, it's more difficult to do calligraphy in English. Rather, that's the right way. Calligraphy originally started from the Arabic script. The Arabs brought this culture of calligraphy, you know, and that transformed into other scripts. So that's why you find it easier to do in Arabic, because Arabic is like it's more of a flow. There's more of connections. The words, they seamlessly bind to each other. But that's not the case with English. If you see, you have to use those connectors. They are like small tongues and tails that you make to these A's and B's. You have to connect them, which is not in the case, because I know how to write Pashto, so I know how Arabic script is written, and it's so easy to write. It's so easy to write. You just put some zavar zays and just put some nukta and it is done. You're done.
Right.
But that's not the case in English. In English, you have to write each letter, and you have to connect using these connectors. Hindi again is easy, because Hindi has a very different way of writing. If you see, it is finally connected on the top with one line.
Yeah.
You write the letters separately, but you connect it seamlessly. Whereas in English, that is not the case. The connection is not seamless. You have to make a starting and you have to make an end to the letter, then again connect the other letter. So it's kind of there are these small disruptions in between. But you can try some cursive writing practices if you want to practice calligraphy. So there are many beautiful calligraphy artists. I can connect you to a few, and they're really good at that. Really good at that.
Brilliant. Okay. And looks like Sir G has missed our insight about his question. So he has repeated it again. So we'll quickly run it through. And then we have a last question from Pulkit, which I shall share. So Sir's question is, I have been using cursor handwriting and
Cursive
for some
writing.
cursive writing for some explicit purposes used print type split handwriting. What does that depict?
Sir, it just depicts that at that particular moment you were being more professional and you wanted to be more clear in communicating things, and your mind was not in an artistic framework or leisure or the usual self. So that's why you took up to print writing at that particular moment.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And last, actually, two more. There's one more.
I'm loving it. Don't
Thank
worry.
you, everyone. Thank you. So we've got Pulkit who asks, what is a personality type that has backward slanting handwriting?
Oh, if it's you, Pulkit, my suggestion is, dear, please come to me, get an appointment. Oh, that is the most rare people. They find it so difficult to communicate. They have a lot of difficulties in communication. They have a lot of difficulties in changing their mindset. They have a militarily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today the net is like going crazy.
It's
So
all right.
they are very rigid. They are very rigid. It is very difficult to get them out of that mindset. One should be really strong-willed to get these person out of that, and at the same time be very sensitive and kind to their thoughts. You, with rigidity, you can't break rigidity. You have to do it with humility.
I like that.
So I would suggest Pulkit to go to a graphotherapist or a graphologist who's into graphotherapy. They will be the right people to assist with whatever issues they are dealing with. dealing. And there is much more to backward slanting. I've just mentioned a couple of things offhand. So maybe we can connect and discuss that more.
Definitely. And I really think it's going to be very, very valuable to put in your website as well as how people can connect with you, and also the work that you do, the workshops, which have been helping so many people over these weeks and months of work that you've been putting in. I think this will be our last question from NASA. And he says, I have... I think it's a he. The comment is, I have quite a small handwriting and it's super messy, and reading it might feel like cracking a code. What picture can you create about my personality or character? Uh, adds to say, I know this much information about my handwriting is not enough. Just curious. Thank you for the curiosity.
Yeah, but this much information can tell me so much about you, NASA. So small handwriting, detailed oriented people, very, 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 they go in a lot of detail. If they go into microscopic details of things. Their focus is to the point. I won't say limited. It's like to the point. If they have to do this task, they will do this task, and then they might get on to other things. What you call as could I just see the question?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. So super messy. Lot of confusions. There are chaos going in mind. There is something you need to look into as far as the decision making and your choices. Small, quite small. Now, quite small, I understand is little, not very small, but it's quite small. So you will be an expert in your own area, whatever, like you will be, whatever profession you pick, you will be a professional who can be approached for that particular task. So you not a jack of all trades kind of people, but more they know a lot of detail into if they get into one particular task. That's the speciality of such people. And don't worry, that messiness will go off with time as you get clarity in life. All the very best.
All the very best. So brilliant. Thank you, everyone, for your messages, for your questions. And I'm sure this was very, very powerful. Pulkit says that very interesting. I will get in touch with you, ma'am. Vidya wants to know more about the workshops, which we will be sharing after the
Sure,
session.
sure.
And Sir says, I was also looking at another style. So I guess the shifting from one to the other was also perhaps intentional, if I'm perceiving it correctly.
Yes. So that's experimentation that we all keep doing.
Correct. And Nasa is here, freaked out about how accurate you are. Brilliant. Thank you. So awesome. We've got, I'm just going to share the thank yous before we close for the evening. It's way past 12, quite
Is
literally
it?
for her. Yes, it's
Oh my
past
God.
12 for you. So what an amazing session. Thanks, Coach Rukaya and Major Nithi. All right, who else have we got here saying thank you? A quick thank you for you with Vidya and Junit.
Thank you so much.
And thanks a ton, Rooks, she says, very interesting. And we also have Kunain and Azim who said, thank you for the session. Lovely. Kunain. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in until so late.
So quiet. Seriously, so kind of them.
So kind of you. So thank you, everyone. And again, if you're new to the platform, do subscribe and support the host who brings in these amazing thought leaders. Yes.
The host.
Host. Yes. So thank you once again for staying up and all the amazing questions, because it's your questions that added value to this conversation, kept us rolling, and just gave so much of insight. Thank you once again to everyone who joined us on the live and later on the replay too. And Major Nithi, hats off. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rogya. It's like a dream come true for me. It's such a beautiful live, and I was like, I was just waiting. The day I go live with her, it's going to be really amazing, and you have proved
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So why don't we do something different? So on the closing, and because you're a hello hello fan, let's do hello hello together and close the session today.
Yeah.
Right then.
Sure.
Hello hello.
Hello, hello. Bye.
Good night. Bye bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.